calla lily. Alfonso.
Okay, when I look at a photograph, the first thing I look for is the impact that that picture has. Is it grabbing my attention? Is asking me to go back and see it again, to review it again. And to me, always work that system. And usually I can, more or less, of course, it's my opinion, decide if a picture has that impact or not. This is an interesting, intriguing picture. Probably out of focus, done in the camera quite well, actually. But maybe it lacks a little bit of that impact that I am looking for in a photograph. But it's a very nice, colorful picture. Very well done. Yeah, fantastic color. I think the yellows go very well with the blues and a little bit of green. The composition is very nice. It grabs your attention, very sharp. And you know that they are feathers, not exactly what kind of animal, but to me, a picture like this will look beautiful in the hall of a corporation at a very large size. It attracts a lot of attention, even that is not showing a subject per se that you can recognize immediately. So I hold on this one.
All right. Next one is, oh boy. You see it?
Yes. Sure.
Contemplation.
Yeah, it's a very moody, beautiful picture, really. Almost a monochrome, except for the person sitting right next to the water and the rocks here in the foreground. Very moody, sharp, well done, and it grabs your attention. It conveys a mood, the mood of isolation, and that the person probably is having some deep thoughts, sitting by himself or herself in this place. So I really like it, and I hold this picture.
I didn't ask you about calla lily. Was it being held?
Oh, no, if I don't say I hold, it's because
you'll just say hold. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, let me tell you something. It was a difficult contest to judge. There are a lot of good pictures. Of course, I didn't have the opportunity to give more prizes rather than the 5 that we have for each category. But it was a very difficult decision. Many of them, they deserve, a ribbon.
Can you move your cursor off the picture, please, Daryl?
Yeah.
Frog shadow.
Yeah. I found this very intriguing, very well done. It's different. It's a picture of a frog, it's a picture of a leaf, but together with the backlit makes it work very well. Remind me of some nature photographers that specialize in this kind of work. But it's very sharp. You can tell what it is. You can tell the background is very sharp, I believe. And in fact, I found it a fascinating shot, and I hold it.
Hang on. I think I'm finding out what's. No. This is the first time I've had this sort of trouble. I don't know what I'm doing, obviously. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this stupid way here. This is Geocactus.
Yeah. Another beautiful shot. The color is fantastic. It's very sharp. The composition is great. It's really a very nice picture. It will print very well, I'm pretty sure. And the photographer took the time to find the best angle to emphasize the parts of this plant. So I really like it. It's one of those that I will hold.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
You see the image?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to try to
That
start
works.
over then. This
Title.
one is called Golfing in Iceland.
Golfing in Iceland, yes. Again, as most of the pictures I have seen, is very well done, beautiful exposure, the colors and all that. My only concern was that it's a golf course, basically with a very nice background, of course, but it didn't meet my criteria for nature photography, but it's very well done. It's a nice picture, very sharp, great depth, very nice horizon level, and in general is very well done.
But not
I
being
hold
held,
to it.
right?
Yeah, I will hold to it.
Here's the next one. I hope you can see it. It is
Yes.
Gull Triptych.
The gold triptych. Yeah, again, a nice picture. It shows a lot of activity. It holds your interest. They are always involved in fishing. And it is a picture that holds your attention, in my opinion. It's very sharp, very well exposed, although with white beards, and I say that by personal experience, it's very difficult to get detail in white bodies, in the white feathers. But, the photographer did a good job. Obviously, he took the time to wait for the right moment to catch the birds flying. So I hold on this one too.
All right. This is Happy to See Mom.
Oh yeah, wonderful, wonderful. The expression of the animals, it grabs your attention immediately. It's framed nicely by the leaves around, very sharp. And again, the photographer waited for the right moment to take this picture, and that makes it, what it is. I really like it. I think it's an accomplishment by the photographer, and I hold to it.
This is Hummer.
The Hummer, yes. A lot of Hummer pictures lately, if you notice. They are around, yeah. It's a very nice picture, a little bit of overexposed in the leaves, in the flower. And my concern with this picture is that it doesn't show the wings very well. It was not the right moment to shoot this, but as pictures go, it's a very nice picture of a hummingbird. So it's very sharp, and the light is just right.
Hold,
Except
no hold.
maybe for the overexposure on the flower.
Hold or no hold? No hold, I guess you didn't say hold.
Yes,
Cloudy Karst.
yes. I guess this is not in the United States, seems like Asia. Very nice shot, probably from a very high place. I don't know if a plane or in the top of a mountain or what. And very interesting, the play of the light. I don't know if there are some artifacts produced by the lens and some different colors given to the clouds by reflections of the light. But it's a very nice shot, indeed, and I will hold to it. Now, when I was looking at all these pictures, I tried to look for anything that it was not correctly done, going against the rules, or showing something that it was really no following these rules that will make a big difference in the picture. In this one, for example, I found that the focus is basically in the flower. The second element, of course, is the butterfly, but the butterfly is slightly soft and unfortunately is overexposed. But it's a nice shot, but I can see the difficulties in getting something like this.
The picture is titled Liftoff Milky White.
Milky White, yeah. Well, if you go for Milky White, it's Milky White. But I think that it should have a little bit more detail in the whites. But it's a very nice picture anyway. We saw this one.
Boy.
With the man is obviously working in difficult conditions. Again, I had a little bit of a problem trying to reconcile this with the nature form or shape, because obviously there is a lot of human factor here. It's a very nice picture, a fantastic travel picture, and but I don't know if it applies really well to the nature photography theme that we are doing right now. So,
Can I get things working? Right.
Yeah.
This is Living on the Edge.
Living on the Edge, and it probably is really cold over there right now. Now, a nice picture is it has the right tonality to convey this very snowy day, foggy, difficult to get those details in the white areas of the picture. But it's sharp, it's nice, and I hold to it.
Hey, we're rolling now. Mealybugs colonizing.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those things that you don't know what it is until it's explained to you. Because I didn't recognize this at all myself. It's very well done. You can see the bokeh is nice but it didn't hold my attention. It was something that I needed to be explained, excuse me, what it was. So I didn't hold this one.
This is My Turn. The original title included the sweat bee and the monarch butterfly.
Yeah, which makes this picture, stand out among the many, many pictures of butterflies that you see every day. But the fact that you have the bee there makes it different. Very sharp. The colors are nice and saturated. There are no distractions in the background except on the right side, very faint. And in general, I will say that I will hold this picture.
The title of this one is No Photoshop, No Filter.
No Photoshop, no filter. I wonder how he did that. But because I don't think it's just so focused in the camera. But anyway, it's an interesting picture. It reminds me of a painting by a child. You see them doing this kind of thing. It's very pretty, but I think I stopped there. It's a very pretty picture and very well done.
This is Snowy Egret at Sunrise.
Yeah. The photographer had a hard time with this one, I'm pretty sure, because you have a very white subject among very dark backgrounds. And it's the dynamic range of the camera doesn't quite cover everything here. And we have slightly overexposed in the bird and a little bit of underexposed, especially kind of the vignette around the picture. And it doesn't make the beer stand as well as I would like to see it. So I will not hold this one.
Splish Splash.
Yeah. Well, this was his comic relief. It's a great moment that the photographer captured. The animal is either attacking him or taking a bath. I'm not so sure. But he got the right moment. And high enough shutter speed to have a very sharp subject. He froze the water.
Okay, hang on.
Yes.
There you go.
Now.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the dog.
Yay.
Okay, so I definitely hold this one. It has a lot of interest.
And now we're back to my old problem. Okay. This I hope you see, and it is Sunset on the Bay.
Yeah. A very tranquil mood in this picture. Beautiful pastel colors, in my opinion. It's a slightly soft, especially in the clouds, I guess, because of the long exposure, and hopefully the camera was on a tripod. The only thing that I found distracting is that object in the middle of the picture. I don't know what it is. Some kind of buoy, maybe, or something like that. But to me, it just takes away the interest. And you tend to go towards that rather than that absorbing the beauty of the picture.
We're back in business. This is the fall.
Yeah, beautiful shot, but I wish it was a little bit sharper. Nothing really in this picture is very, very sharp, and to me, it kind of distracts from what is a picture that grabs your attention. Exposure is correct, could be maybe slightly darker, but it's a very nice picture. My objection is not really sharp.
This is
Now,
the opening.
Now we have a very sharp picture here, very well done. When you notice the boat coming or going into the canyon, you realize the proportions of this play. Very nice travel photography, of course, with nature connotations, and I will hold this picture.
Water and beauty.
Yes, this is a study in pink. Very well done, beautiful. The droplets, water, I don't know if they were added or they were there, but they work. The colors work very well. It's almost a monocolor, very sharp. The composition is, for me, it works very well. It's kind of symmetrical, but it lends itself to that kind of symmetry in this shot. It's very well done, and I definitely hold to it.
This is Wildflower.
Wildflower, yes. I was distracted by the emptiness of most of the color in this on this picture, the white that overpowers everything. But it's an interesting angle. Obviously, the photographer took the time to find an unusual way to present the flowers, and I think he succeeded on this. But all that empty space kind of, bothers me a little bit.
All right, we have finished color entries.
There we
Thing
go.
is, when I do it this way, it won't. I have to do it like this.
Well, it's the first one on the left.
Did you see?
Yeah, you go, there you go.
We're doing
If
the
you open
silent.
that
We're
one,
doing,
that was,
We're
doing
doing
the
was the
silent
first
run
one.
through.
we're doing the silent run through.
Oh, excuse me.
Yep. We'll get there. Now, see, I thought before you were just, everybody's very quiet. You were seeing them. Black water. Alfonso, take it away.
Okay, this is a very interesting picture taken from, of course, Great Heights, probably in Asia. It is interesting. It's very sharp. The photographer has a very good point of view. His composition is just right, with the flow of the water into the right hand corner of the picture, and is very well done.
Does that mean keep? Very well done. That must mean keep.
Well, they're all, most of them are well done. Yeah.
But was it a hold or not?
No.
This one is caught. That is the title, caught.
Yeah. I found this one a little bit difficult to judge because the background and the subject, they kind of look alike. They tend to blend with each other, and didn't grab my attention. But it's well done in the sense of correctly exposed, sharp, and it works to a certain degree, but no hole on this.
This is Curious Little Guy.
Yes, I found this to be a very nice, pleasant picture. The photographer caught the animal looking at him or her with a lot of interest, but no fear at all. And very sharp. You can see a lot of detail everywhere. I like the rendition that was done with the sepia toning. Makes it completely different. I have a lot of pictures like this, but I never thought of doing the sepia toning. So it's a very nice picture, and I hold to it.
Dragonfly.
This one didn't hold my attention that much because it's although it's a nature shot in the sense of taking a picture of the animal, there is a pretty much human contraption here in front where the dragonfly is resting. Also, I found that the dragonfly is not quite as sharp as I would like to see it. It's an interesting shot, a good angle, but it could be a little bit sharper and maybe some more detail unless the photographer wanted to see a silhouette. In my opinion, this okay, go ahead.
Emerging buck.
Buck. When you first see this picture, you think that it's just a piece of wood on the beach. But then when you go and take a second look, you see the face of a deer and his antlers coming out of this hole in the sand. And it makes it very interesting. The photographer was very careful with the shutter speed. It blurs the water a little bit, but not enough to be distracting. In fact, isolates the wood from the surroundings. And if you can really see the face of the deer. It makes a very interesting shot. Very interesting. I keep it. It's a hold.
This one is Flora Light.
Yes. It's very well done. Composition-wise, I found the lines that go from the top to the bottom or vice versa, a little bit distracting and conflicting with the harmony of the composition for the plant. But it's a nice shot, and I think interesting enough to hold.
Fly away.
Fly away. A nice picture of the bird taking off from that wire. But I don't know, I see a lot of empty space, and I'd rather see a branch of a tree than a piece of steel wire. But it's well done in the sense that it was captured. It captured the animal at the right moment. It could be a little bit sharper too, but I know by experience how difficult it is to get a completely sharp subject in this case. But I will not hold this one.
This is Greater Yellow Legs.
Yes. Well, one of them seems to be taking a nap. But it's a nice shot of the animals. I like the reflections in the water. There is nothing in the background to distract from the subjects. Your eye goes directly to them, and it's a good picture. I hold to it.
Heads and tails.
Yes, and tails. Yes, interesting again. The two angles of the animal. I'm not so sure if it works for me, but it's probably a good angle. The composition is correct if you want to show both sides of the animal. But it did not hold the attention that I was expecting from this shot.
This is Incoming.
Incoming, yes, a nice shot of the flying. What's this? Pelican, you know. It caught the right moment again when that animal is coming to land, and there are a lot of other elements in the picture that makes it interesting. It's reasonably sharp, and I find it interesting. I find it well done, and I hold to it.
This is Leaf Anatomy.
Yeah. This is a very interesting picture for me. It has two different subjects. You have the darker plant with all the detail, but you also have a larger leaf as a background that makes the composition works very well. It's a very good shot. And the interesting because you can see the anatomy of the leaf. You can see all the little lines and angles and things like that. So I like it very much, and I hold to it.
Leaf Shadows.
Yes, this is an interesting shot too. Although I kept asking the question, are they superimposed? Because I see that the darker leaf is translucent enough to see the back lift, the ones in the back. So I'm not so sure what treatment this picture had, but it's beautiful as a illustration, as a graphic. It's very nice, very well done.
Incidentally, for any newer people, this is in the monochrome, so it's not black and white.
It's not black and white, yeah.
But
Daryl,
monochrome, as with the sepia one.
Daryl always check to see if he wants to keep it or throw it or not keep it for now. You have to ask those questions of him, of the judge. Remind him, please.
Leave shadows, keep.
No.
Lily's pad.
Yeah, this is a very nice picture again, you know, interesting subject, the lily pads and all that. I found it very busy and hard to hold the attention of the viewer. Sometimes these pictures work better in color because the color has a dimension that you don't have in black and white for these kind of shots. Interesting, good angle, good composition, but I will not hold it, no.
This one is looking up.
Yes. This is a classic example of zooming in with your camera. And it makes like for an interesting picture, but it didn't hold my attention again. And I felt like it was a good study in that technique, but didn't grab my attention. I didn't see the impact that I would like to see in a photograph. I will not keep it.
Milky Way over, I believe it's Nauset Marsh.
Nauset Marsh, yes. Very good example of astrophotography. And he holds all the detail and good exposure in the foreground. The Milky Way is very well defined, very sharp. So it's a good shot, very good shot of this kind of photography, and I hold to it.
Mount Doom.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the rock formations, you know, and all that. I did not see the attention-grabbing qualities in this shot. It's well done. It's well exposed. The angle is emphasized, the structure of those stones, but it did not have to me the impact that I was looking in a photograph.
This one is Reach.
Yes. Well, this is the right moment again. The photographer caught that animal just at the peak of the reach. He's probably in Africa, because I don't think this deer is an American deer, African or Asian. But the light is very nice. The exposure is correct. And obviously the composition works very well. It shows the effort that animal, it tells a story. Animal trying to grab something to eat and stretching itself as much as he or she can. I hold to it.
Spiders.
The spiders, yeah. I don't know if you remember, but we were invaded by the horror spiders a year ago or so. And to me, they work better in color, because you see the detail and detail that you don't see in the black and white. It's well composed, it's well exposed, but it doesn't grab my attention as some of these pictures do.
The Coast.
The coast. Again, a very interesting landscape. It's obviously a lake that has been drained quite a bit. And there is a structure, a man-made structure in the background, and of course the boat here in the foreground. It's a nice picture. I would like to see a little bit more detail in the water. It's too bright, maybe, but it's a good picture, and I think it deserves to be whole.
The tree.
Yeah, I have a little bit of difficulty with this one because I wasn't sure, because there is more than one tree. It's trees basically, and to me it lacks a little bit of contrast to make it punchier, to emphasize better the qualities of the picture. It's interesting the rendition that the photographer made of including the foreground flowers with the tree. It frames the area of the marsh and the tree very well. And it's a very interesting picture.
Hold.
But not whole.
This is Wait for Me.
Wait for me. Again, as I was saying before, the problem with this picture is that it has no detail whatsoever in the animals. Very difficult shot. I know, and it's almost impossible to hold the white of the beard and then the dark areas of the foreground. It's interesting to see the way the two animals are looking at. One of them is looking at the other. Wait for me, but I find that very distracting. It's almost a white form with no detail, and that takes away from the picture. No whole.
Will it?
Okay. Now, calling this the right moment. The photographer caught it just right. The animal is elegant. The background completely blown away, doesn't take away anything from the subject. It's a minimalist shot of that bird. There is nothing to distract the viewer from zeroing in the beauty of that animal and the elegance that he is displaying there with his wings up. So definitely a whole.
All right, we have made it through it with only what? One? So right here. Splish Splash by Jen Cardinal. Jen? Jen, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just watching the ducks. This little guy was just getting ready to jump in as he did, and then he started to swim, and his little face just had this attitude, like, I don't know. He was just cute.
Jen is becoming more and more a wildlife photographer.
It reminds me of the Simon and Garfunkel song, but change the words splish, splash, and away.
Yes. Is he being aggressive with you, Jen, or is he just taking a bath, happy as a lark?
He was just happy. He was just playing. He was happy.
Okay.
All right.
Very nice shot.
Thank
Utters to
you.
ducks what chocolate is to most people.
Yeah.
This is an honorable mention, Geocactus by Mike Schaefer.
Yeah, I purchased this in, I can't remember. What's the name of that
Not
other
the
place?
picture, but the plant.
Oh, the plant. Well, I bought the plant, yeah. And I really liked it. And it wasn't, they grow pretty large. They do grow very large, but this was a youngster. And so I bought it and I really liked the colors. And this is its natural color. These are from California and they generally require dry conditions apparently, but I found them in Atlanta. So, but I bought it and I really liked it. And I used a macro lens, 90 millimeter. Of course, it was on a tripod in my light box. So I shot it from above and I lit it using artificial light. And then I didn't stack because it wasn't that deep, but I did use f/32 to guarantee that it was going to have a great depth of field.
Yes, and it does.
This was with your Fujifilm.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is my Fuji camera using the Tamron 90mm macro.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll have a comment about that.
I think it's an agave, not a cactus, but it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Agave, you think?
I'm not a plant person, so I'll take anyone's word for it.
It's really pretty, Mike.
Thank
Okay,
you.
hang on. The next one is third place by Mike Schaefer, being Color Fiesta.
Yeah, this is I got these. Actually, I got these last year because we had a challenge that involved feathers or something like that, and so I got these. But I got these at web. I think it was called featherexchange.com or something like that. This is a macaw feathers. And but anyway, eventually they came, and so I've had them for a while. But so I thought, well, let's see what I can do with them for this particular event. And so I just, again, it's on the light box, artificially lit. And I really enjoyed it because it really made you think about composition and how to draw the eye in. But yeah, they're beautiful feathers, and it certainly paid off. But again, I use the Tamron 90mm, which is an excellent lens, by the way. It does present very sharp pictures. It's not a very deep shot, so I shot this probably f14 just to make sure there's an absolutely sharp top to bottom. So
I've got a question and then a comment. The
Sure.
question is, it's on a light box, so it's lit from below.
And above. No, it's
And you've got light
it's actually
above.
only lit. It's only lit from above. It's not under, there's no light below it.
Oh, okay. I understand. That was my question.
Yeah.
My comment has to do with Tamron. You may know that Canon has just made it obvious that they are not allowing any third parties to build lenses for their new mirrorless lines. They're threatening lawsuits.
Wow.
And there's a lot of talk out there on the web about this.
Mike, I think this shot would also look well vertically either way.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought about it both ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a triptych of it, like 3 of them, different
Yeah.
arrangements.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Happy to See Mom by our now wildlife photographer, Jen Cardinell. Fantastic picture.
Nice picture, Jen.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Very well
Look at
done.
those eyes.
Thank you
I
very
know.
much. I had to do a write-up today for something, and what I said was that, I've been kind of following fox families for a few years, and the one thing that always stands out is the babies love their mom. And, the mom can be gone for just a few minutes and she'll come back, and the babies come bouncing out of their den and just so happy to see mom. And that's really been a consistent thing that I've noticed. And it's just so sweet. So I just wait for those moments now. And I live for those moments because it makes me so happy.
How far away are you from your trained foxes here?
I was quite a ways. If you saw the original, you really wouldn't even know what was going on.
Quite a way is like 10 yards or?
No, it's probably about 30 yards maybe. It's a long ways.
What lens do you use?
I only had a 70 to 200, and I could not do this without gigapixel.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, you use
gigapixel helps.
gigapixel by Topaz, isn't it?
Topaz gigapixel. It really does help.
I couldn't have done this otherwise.
Yeah, I was thinking of giving a talk, but it'll have to be next year. You know that Photoshop now has a built-in thing called Enhance.
Yeah.
Which will do a 4x increase in the size of your photo. And you can take photos from long ago, and it will do that. So before you went to Nikon mirrorless, this must be.
I didn't have it then for this. I didn't have any fox shots this year. This
Yeah.
was last year.
This, Jen, this is your foxiest picture of all, I think. It's a very foxy shot, but I like it compared, I like all of them, but compared to the others, I like the framing compared to the others. There's a nice frame of the plants, and I think
Yeah,
it's just
it
a little
is.
bit superior than the other ones in that respect.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I really
Have you
appreciate
seen the online person who has basically a fox pet, or several, I guess, and they're just absolutely adorable.
Mm.
The whole thing.
I haven't seen that, no, but
I can't remember the name of the fox.
These are wild in somebody's backyard. Is that right?
Well, I think they kind of have a combo, but no, these are basically in someone's backyard. But they're not.
No. I mean these on the screen.
these,
Oh.
yeah.
No,
I have found them in different places. This was in, I live in Lilburn, and these guys were in Lilburn. What I do is, in the early spring, I go through the woods and just a lot of different places and look for, scratches, and, by big rocks, or they like ivy. They like retainer walls. And so I look for the scratch marks, because then I know they're building a den, and then I just keep an eye on it, and hopefully it'll be active. So that's what I do.
I'm curious to know what time this was, you shot this picture. What time of the day?
This was in the morning.
In the morning, okay.
Yeah, and I remember, yeah, it's hard because the sun is, really bright. In this case, the sun was bright, and, I was watching the mom, and she was going in and out of the sun. She was out hunting, and so you have part of the area that is really well lit, and you have another part that's really dark.
Hey.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That is a beautiful shot, Jennifer. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Did you say
Rum-
what ribbon? I didn't hear which ribbon this was.
This one is second place. And for first place, this is Frog Shadow by Mike Schaefer.
Oh,
Yeah, this was taken at that macro workshop I had with Jim Zuckerman several years ago, about 3-4 years ago. Same place where I took the fire breather, if you remember that one, some of you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, what you're doing is you're shooting below the leaf. This is a real frog, of course. You're shooting below the leaf. And so that's how that works. And again, my trusted SD Tamron 90 was used as well, macro lens, because it's a macro workshop. So that's what you want to have. And so you shoot below, and of course, I give the credit to Jim Zuckerman for making sure the lighting was always optimal. So I didn't really participate in that too much, but then of course I also give credit to the person who provided all the critters and the leaf and everything. So really I was only a part player in this one, but it was certainly it came out very well, and I was very happy with it.
Steve, Mike, where was it?
He does it in St. Louis, and he does it we did it at the Hampton Inn, and he rents a room there, and he has all these critters, snakes, tarantulas, tons of frogs. Some of the frogs are really tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally the size of a dime. And it was really funny. We were there, and then if a frog would escape, where's the frog? So all these people are looking for these teeny little frogs, the frog that escaped is, and so so I spent some time helping try to find these teeny little frogs. And once they get out, they're hard to find, but it was really a great workshop.
You
and
look
I learned
at
a
the
lot.
bottom of your shoe.
Yeah, I learned. Yeah, I know. I learned a lot about macro photography, which I didn't know.
What I like is the leaf pattern.
Oh yeah.
And then the frog placed up there.
Yeah.
Well,
really
it'd been even cooler. This was really in nature naturally, but it wasn't. But again, I give Jim and his helper credit for picking a great leaf for the frog.
So who was the photographer in our club from years ago that used to shoot frogs for the Botanical Garden.
Right, poison dart.
Ron Hall, wasn't it?
That's right.
I'm
Worked
sorry, I
with,
can't.
McRaney.
Ron Hall was the guy.
Ron
Ron.
Holt.
Ron, that was it. Okay.
Ron
yeah.
Holt.
Yeah.
Holt.
Holt.
Yeah.
Jim's
Holt,
got
yeah.
it.
He used
Ron
to do poison frogs. I always am impressed by that.
They're still there at the Botanical Garden. They're blue.
Is he?
No,
Yeah.
the frogs are.
Oh, the frogs are, yeah.
All
We
right.
don't know where
on
he is.
to monochrome. So let's start off with Emerging Buck by, she's on a roll.
So this was at Driftwood Beach. And
Jekyll Island,
what? Yeah.
Driftwood Beach, Jekyll Island.
Yeah. And, this was a good lesson because, you walk, it was a lesson in always turning around, and seeing what's behind you and not just what's in front of you. Because I had been walking along the beach and I turned around for whatever reason and I saw this buck. There he was. I don't know what else to say.
There are psychological tests on one's ability to recognize something in the midst of all that.
Jen, where are the foxes in this photograph? Something's wrong here.
No fox. It's a deer. It's a deer.
It's a deer. It's an animal.
Still, you should have at least brought a stuffed fox or something to be consistent.
This was on a workshop with Davis.
I was with Robin Davis and Steve Director, and I were the only people there with Robin. And it was kind of a misty, rainy day, but we went out there and it was, Steve got some gorgeous shots, but it was, it was just, I don't know. I guess I was kind of looking for things. I mean, because when you have driftwood, you can see all kinds of things in the driftwood, but this was just like, boom, right in my face. I turned around and there he was.
I think the water makes the difference. Almost has a glass-like appearance to it.
How about retitling it? I don't watch TV, but I do know of Dragon Skull and Westeros. Okay. The next honorable mention is Reach by new member Stephen Mathera.
Yay.
Yeah, I shot this is a spotted deer, white spotted deer that is native to India. So I took this shot while traveling there, and this actually I shot in a tiger reserve. I was disappointed that I didn't see any tigers.
What park was that?
Anything like that, but I was able to shoot that one, and to me that was a interesting thing because I never seen that deer is quite tall. It's probably standing on the hind leg. It is like probably good 10 feet.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a big deer. And with its antlers, that is even making it more interesting to me. So that's what I did.
Do you remember the name of the park that you went to?
They don't. I mean, there is no name for that park.
Oh, really?
Let me think about it. This is in southern India, and it is. I forgot the name of the park.
I was curious. I've been to India, so I've been to a couple of parks here with the tigers and all that.
Okay, this is all the way in the south, between.
Okay.
In the western mountain region. Not the western, on the southeast coast of India.
Yeah, that's not going to be where most of the tiger parks are. So.
Yeah, but they do have a few tiger reserves also. It is I'll give you some, help you in the location of that place. It is like probably 3 hours south of Bengaluru.
Okay.
Bangalore, you know about that.
Yeah.
So this may be cruel, but is this tiger food?
I'm sorry. No. You can see all kinds of. There are elephants.
But I mean, do tigers eat these nice-looking deer?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Tiger.
Oh yeah, they like them
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, they like, I saw a ton of them.
They prefer them rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Sushi deer. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Got to move along here. Let's see where I'll get to the next. If I can get this thing to work for me. No, that's wrong. Okay, I'm going to wander around here because my screen is not showing what I want. And I'm going to go to third place, leaf anatomy, as Mike continues to roll along.
Yeah, well, in this one, I did use a light box. And so I put it on my light box. Now, my light box, so I put on the light box. I had to underexpose it because the light box was pretty bright. But anyway, I underexposed it a bit. Again, the Tamron 90, which I use for every single photograph that I entered, and except one. And then, but anyway, I like this because again, it was about design, not so much about the subject. And so I really just thought about how to design it. And I really wanted to focus on the details in the leaves. So these are leaves you can find outside your door. Just regular leaves, nothing fancy. Didn't have to order them. Didn't have to go to any place to get them. So you just go out and find some interesting leaves and you get a light box and you'll be amazed what you discover. Now, what I did is I did put a book on or some weight on the leaves to make sure they were flat for several days. So it took a while to get them flat. But once I had them flat, then I just put them on the light box and shot away. And of course, there's no depth of field. There's no depth of field to worry about, so you can shoot f8. So I shot f8 on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So always
well done.
And a tripod, of course. You always use a tripod for this stuff.
Yeah, I found it very creative.
Mike, are you shooting straight down?
Yeah, I'm shooting straight down. Yep.
Okay.
So check it out. To get a light box are really fun. The ones I used to use for slides, and you'll have fun with it.
This is second place, Curious Little Guy, by our other star of the night, Jen Cardinell.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, this was Daryl, you'll appreciate this. This was the first time I tried my 100 to 400
on the Nikon Z6.
Yeah. So this was like probably the first shot I took with that new lens. So, and it is sharp. I mean, he was a ways away. And
did you get the headgear for the deer at Target or something?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Got great background.
It was, it was just, grass and trees. And when I just put it in sepia, and that's what it ended up as.
Uh-huh.
Well, Jen, if you can capture the personality of an animal, which you do in this one, that's really a compliment.
That's
it's hard to capture.
Well,
yeah, you caught the personality. You don't do that very often. Most of us don't. And so when you do that,
it's not just the picture of the deer. It's the expression of the animal that makes this picture.
Yeah, that makes it even better.
Thank you. Yeah, he was.
Now I got to go wandering around here some more. First place, Willet by Steve Director, and I'm going to assume this is the same Nikon Z100 to 400, but on the incredible new Z9. Am I right?
Yeah. No, you're wrong on all accounts. But
that never happens to Daryl. So,
but first, I got to thank Jen and Mike for leaving some room.
Steve, your pictures are awesome. You know that.
All right.
Thank you.
Now,
No,
well,
Well,
so
Steve, you don't leave much
actually-
room for anybody, so
actually-
don't worry about it.
Actually, this was shot on a Z7, and
Oh.
it was shot with a Tamron 150 to 600.
with an
So-
adapter.
So it's shot at 600 millimeters with at one 1/1600 of a second f10, and it was a really one of these, bright blue days, no clouds, which meant that there was no point in doing this thing in color because there was it would have just been blue. And the bird itself is kind of black and white anyway. So,
Is
so
it
I just went,
Cape
me?
Cod? Where?
yeah, Cape Cod.
Cape Cod. And what struck me was the angle. There's this line from lower right to upper left, and everything is falling on it. And the bird is conveniently sticking his or her wings up at just the right angle.
Yeah, so you can. The bird was actually coming in for landing, and it had
really?
just touched down, and eventually the wings would have just kind of flattened out.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's why the high speed that you had to get the bird.
Nice
Yeah.
catch, Steve.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you wait long enough, sometimes your luck pays off.
Yeah, it pays to wait. Yes, sir.
Well, I like the fact, Steve, that you got the contrast just right. You didn't overdo the contrast. You didn't overdo the clarity. You just got the textures really reflective. The way you did it in black and white reflects the texture of the feathers very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That is
thank you.
gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Steve,
Beautiful work. Beautiful work, Steve.
I'm
Question.
sorry?
What kind of bird is that?
A willet. It's called a willet.
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 Yeah. Now the other black and white one, which was yellow legs, which actually, if it was in color, would have been yellow legs. All of these are shorebirds, and it's good to capture them certain times of the year, usually when they're migrating either south or north. But they all have a lot of similarities. These long, thin beaks, and they're fun to watch too.
Are you in Cape Cod right now?
Yes.
Figured. Okay.
Wow, the detail. I just can't even believe the detail you got in that. It's just
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
looks-
was Jen. This was before I owned Gigapixel.
yeah,
well,
well,
it almost looks like a drawing as well.
And before I owned Topaz Sharpen. So
Well,
I don't know about
you really-
I don't know about Sharpen, but I'll tell you what, Gigapixel saved me.
Yeah.
But you really got the decisive moment, Steve.
Well, thank you.
It's
Thank you.
perfect.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
beautiful.
Really.
Ducks, it's not a Z9. And there you had me. I was going to run out and buy one and take out a second mortgage.
I thought that was your fourth mortgage there, Daryl. That's what I
That's
heard.
about what it would take to get that thing.
So guys, I won't see you I don't get back to the Cape till the end of October, so I won't see you in person until November. I miss you. I'll see you then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Looking forward to seeing you,
Thank
Steve.
Take care.
I do want to thank Alfonso before everybody leaves.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys. Thank you guys for
Thank
having me.
Good job. Thank you.
And I hope you forgive my shortcomings.
No, it was your.
Oh, no.
No, we don't forgive.
We could tell
Well,
you
we all have
10,000
shortcomings. You just have fewer than most of us.
Take care, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Are there any last questions? Otherwise, I'll try to figure out how to shut off this thing.
Let's see. Everybody knows that we are having the salon this year. Daryl, you want to tell about that? Next upcoming things?
I've sent out a notice the other day. So we're having salon at the first floor of the First Baptist Church of Decatur.
It's rude.
And there's a sequence. Rue, I think Rue is talking to somebody off screen.
Rue, mute
Hey.
yourself.
Julian, can you leave the meeting?
Okay.
I know, but we're on the mute.
There, she's gone. Okay. All right. So it's kind of short notice. I realize that, but all the dates are in what I sent out. We're looking for digital copies, September 21. Go to the website. You have to log in as a member. Go to where you normally submit for monthly competitions, and you'll be confronted by a huge button that's sort of orange. It says Salon. You click on it, and it takes you to much the same you go through for the submissions this evening for a monthly competition. And at the end, it wants $20 from you. That's the fee, no matter how many images you submit, 1 or 5, up to 5, $20. You then bring them by on Saturday morning, the 24th. Yes. And we will have fun hanging them. Jim has particularly figured out a method, and he and I have tested it for hanging these in that hallway. We can put up to, say, 60 images, frames. And then we have a reception on the evening of the 28th at 6:30. Come by, munch on a little something, look at everybody's picture. And then on October 1, Decatur, AJC, Emory Book Festival. Tens of thousands of people will show up. And hundreds of them will go into First Baptist Church because there are events going on in there, talks. For instance, a talk, I don't think you can get any ticket now. Barack Obama's White House photographer is giving a talk. And that's, Sousa was Obama's White House photographer, I believe.
Yep.
And then, but when all those people go in there, they will see your images. So remember, you're going to put a price on each image, and I'm hoping some sell. And then they are there for the month of October, advertised on the Big Atlanta Celebrates Photography website and in one of 5,000 newspapers that they're printing and putting all over Atlanta until we all gather again to take them down on October 29. But you're going to get to see people you've never seen in the flesh when you come to hang out or your picture or come to the reception, or you haven't seen them for almost 3 years. And you say, yeah, now who are you? So that's what's going to happen.
So one question about these pictures, is there any date of capture criteria?
No.
It can be taken 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
100 years ago.
I can think of some from some people who are maybe on this screen right now that were taken 30 years ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know that.
I didn't have a camera then.
Well, film and then it's digitized. Yeah.
Daryl, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this the, are these pictures supposed to be related?
No.
No.
It's not theme
There's
based. No.
color and monochrome. That's
Just
it.
of anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally open.
One more question I have, if, for example, today there is a honorable mention, will I be able to show that or submit that again to this salon?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Whether you've gotten a ribbon in the past is academic for the salon now. If you've been in a salon in the past, which doesn't apply to Stephen, and you got a ribbon, you can't redo that one. But you can do anything you've gotten a ribbon in a regular monthly competitions, although you cannot re-enter another salon entry that got a ribbon in the past. That's the only thing.
But if you had a salon entry that didn't get a ribbon, yeah, you can put it in again.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you can